You're listening to The Bottom Line with Jim and Lissa Walsh on URL Radio.
All right, talking about fall cuisine, and we pretty much covered the pumpkin option.
Yeah, Jim seems to think
about
we've totally, beaten the pumpkin puree to death.
and stabbed it.
And stabbed it.
And
And killed it.
Yeah. All right, name of the show is The Bottom Line here at urlradio.net, talking about fall cuisine.
You have the wacky Walshes.
And we want to get your recipes, too. If you want to drop
Yes,
us a line
please.
at the new Facebook page for The Bottom Line. Go to Facebook and then look for The Bottom Line.
And then look for the
our picture.
black and white caricature.
Yeah, our cartoonish faces.
Yep.
And so where do we go from here?
Well, hot apple cider or mulled apple cider.
Now, I'm not a cider person. Are you?
Well, it depends how it's made. I mean, if it's too sour, I don't care for it.
Yeah.
But if you put a cinnamon stick in it and it gets cinnamon,
Yeah.
then I like it. I really do like it then. But Thomas and Moriarty's for fall and winter, they make a German It's almost
that's a watering
it's
hole here in the Bismarck-Mandan area.
Right,
North
everybody
Dakota.
knows because Stacy Sturm, who owns UR Radio, is part owner of the Thomas T.
So if you're ever in Bismarck-Mandan, go.
Yeah, I don't know if it's really a mulled cider. It's more like a it's kind of like a cider with a bunch of fruit flavors in it, but it's really good. It's
When
German.
you say mold cider, when I'm thinking mold, and that's not
No, not
very
mold. Mulled. M-U-L-L.
Oh,
E-D,
mull.
mulled.
Like Martin
Like
Mull.
Martin Mull.
Okay.
Yeah, not mold.
I like him.
We don't want to. The only thing we want moldy is our penicillin.
That's right.
That's it. Okay. So
And
then,
our horse dewormer stuff.
Don't go there.
No.
Okay, so caramel apples. I like the caramel. I don't care for the apples with the caramel.
Yeah. Remember you used to go to a football game and they'd sell candy apples or caramel apples?
Sure.
Maybe that was an East Coast thing. I don't know.
I've never been to a football game.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now before
to a
everybody
baseball game.
turns off, please, it's because I didn't live in an area where we had good football games.
Okay. All right.
It's not. I don't have anything personally against it. Candy cane, salted caramel, maple, hazelnut. I love hazelnut.
What's the deal with putting salt on the caramel? That's something kind of new to me. I just heard about it a few years ago.
It's a sweet and sour kind of.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It actually, well, it's like when you put a little bit of cayenne pepper in chocolate.
Right.
It deepens the warmth of the chocolate.
Or put a little, sprinkle a little pepper over your strawberries. True. Just a little tiny bit in the strawberries, and it really makes them, the flavor come out.
Or a little salt on your watermelon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it brings
I heard
the
of that.
flavor out. Basically, these are things that actually bring out the flavor.
But salted caramel, that's definitely, would you say, a fall thing?
Very much so.
Very
yeah.
much so.
I mean, people do a lot of it now, but I think it's more for fall and winter than it is for.
Yeah,
anything else.
I can't see drinking it when it's 90 degrees out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ginger. I love ginger.
Ginger cookies and
Ginger cookies and ginger chai and ginger tea and ginger
good for
coffee.
good for your constitution.
And ginger crema.
Yeah.
I like cranberries. Who doesn't like cranberries? I don't like gelled cranberries, but I like the, what is it we get? The
Craisins, yeah, the dried cranberries.
I love the dried cranberry
I
craisins.
do too, on a salad.
On a salad,
Yeah.
or in, like, I've put it in with my instead of raisins, in oatmeal cookies, things like that. Yeah,
Right.
I love that. They're great, and they have a different flavor to them. They're wonderful.
Fantastic.
Butterscotch.
Butterscotch in what?
Butterscotch
candy.
pudding, butterscotch.
Yeah, pudding.
In coffee,
Yeah.
butterscotch creamer, butterscotch. Oh, there is a 7-layer cookie thing.
Yeah.
Cookie dish that has butterscotch chips and chocolate chips and peanut butter chips and Heath chips and coconut, and it is to die for.
Yeah, sounds very filling.
It is very yum yum.
What about apples? We need to talk about all the amazing things you can do with apples this time of year, because it's definitely apple season.
Pie, Dutch apple pie, apple cobbler, apple crisp, apple Kuchen.
That's a German thing, right?
That's a German, yeah. Apple strudel.
Yeah.
The strudel. And
Mr.
you had
President?
one, didn't you?
Apple Brown Betty.
Apple Brown Betty. I've never had Apple Brown Betty.
I don't know if I have or not. I think it's kind of like a bread consistency, isn't it?
Well, no, it's sort of like a coffee cake.
Oh, then I have had it.
Yeah, it's sort of like a coffee cake.
Yeah. Well, I think
I
some
like
of the
coffee cake.
I think some of the coffee joints make a version of it.
Yeah, I love coffee cake. Coffee cake is wonderful. Yeah, you put streusel on top of it, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
You can make it whatever flavor you want.
But to make it specifically with apple and brown it.
Apple and brown sugar. That's where the brown comes from.
Yeah, I need to mention the fact that as I get
Why do you keep bringing Betty up? Who the hell is Betty? What is going on here? Are you saying Betty behind my back?
And Betty and Barney can drop us a line, or Pebbles and Bam Bam if they... No, you brought up a good point talking about the
Pebbles.
sweet versus spicy thing we got into. As I get older, I definitely prefer more spicy, less sweet. Because when I was a kid, if you go to the store and get an apple pie or get a pumpkin pie, they loaded that stuff with sugar.
Yeah.
And which is great if you're 10 years old, but if you're a geezer like us, you want a little more of an interesting flavor.
Sugar is not always our best friend. We're both diabetic, and so sugar is not our best friend.
Well, even aside from that, it just more flavor.
You're right, because I'm getting to that point too, where my palate doesn't really like the over sugary stuff.
Yeah,
I like flavor, like pumpkin pie. I like it to be flavorful with spices.
Me too, not too sweet.
No, and any kind of dessert, I like it to have more flavor and more warmth to it than actually sugar.
It also has to
sugar.
There's an intangible thing. It has to complement the food you're eating.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like if you ever have, this is not a fall food necessarily, but if you have Greek cuisine, if you go to a Greek restaurant.
Mediterranean, yeah.
I mean, if you just eat baklava by itself, it's incredibly sweet. It's sickeningly sweet. But if you eat it after your typical Greek meal with the spices they use.
Spicy Greek
meal. If you
meal.
eat it after that, it hits the spot.
Yes.
So that's what you're looking for with your pumpkin pie, is something that complements the meal.
For instance, if you're Jewish.
Oy.
And you go to the Seder, and the Seder is potato latkes.
Yeah.
And what else do they serve at the Seder?
Well, the Seder is a very somber ceremony.
I know, but the food.
Well, I think the whole point of the Seder is
heavy.
It's not supposed to be appetizing.
It's heavy. It's heavy. It's potato latkes, and it's very heavy food. And then afterwards, you get a cheesecake, because that goes good with the heavy food.
Cheesecake, is that kosher?
That's kosher. You bet that's kosher.
Okay. You say so? I don't know.
So a little cheesecake, But that's the whole thing. Yeah, the heavier or the spicier the meal, there are certain desserts, just like certain wines, that go better with the meal.
What about, we're getting back to some of the interesting combinations of things. Somebody mentioned beer bread for the fall.
I've never had beer bread.
I think I might have had it. I'm told it goes really good with your favorite soup.
I'm sure, yeah.
Although not necessarily. Now, you and I like tomato soup. Or tomato basil with like a grilled cheese sandwich.
Yeah.
Would the beer bread work with the tomato soup?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
I don't think so. But the beer bread...
there are other types of soup.
I'm thinking like minestrone, the beer bread would work great with.
Yeah.
Or you don't like clam chowder, but I like Manhattan clam chowder. So
I'm just not a seafood person. Never have been.
I love...
Love what?
beer cheese soup.
Oh,
beer
right.